the Tuesday, January 12th board meeting. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. And I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. I have been asked by administration to pull item D under the consent agenda. That's Memo 78, EL3 and EL4, to be brought back to us for consideration at a future date. So with that information, I will entertain approval of the agenda. Jim.
I move approval of the agenda with the change to pull EL4 for a future meeting.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second for approval of the agenda with the removal of Memo 79 under 6E. Is there, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we have a guest report this evening. The Fargo Public Schools Development Foundation is here to present information regarding the annual report, and Becky Bakke, welcome.
Evening, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to give you just a brief update of what we've been up to the past few months. I think you got some folders ahead of time too with a lot more detailed information in it. I'll just touch briefly on each little section of that. Our mission is to partner with Fargo Public Schools, our alumni, and the greater community to enhance and enrich learning experience and maximize student potential. We achieve this by through a variety of ways, mostly of which through grants, scholarships, the Critical Needs Program, the Alumni Network, and the Adopt a School program. I'll start out and talk about grants a little bit. Last school year, we granted over $50,000 to 33 grants that supported innovative education projects, library and literacy projects, and elementary music grants. Most of these grants are made possible through endowments and through contributions from the greater community. This school year, we've already distributed 12 grants totaling a little bit over $29,000, and there's 2 grant rounds open. The current Innovative Education Grant is open, and those opportunities are due February 1st, and the Eleanor Langlaw Library and Literacy Grant opportunities are due March 31st. Just to give you a little historical perspective, since 2003, we've awarded over 865 grants, totaling over, $950,000. This included over $80,000 to the arts, $560,000 to language arts and literacy projects, and $90,000 to STEM grants. I don't know that I've ever, I think 2003 is when they started collecting that information. I know prior to that there was also money given out, but that's the most recent that we have. I thought those numbers were bigger than I expected them to be. We also operate and manage lots of different scholarships at all 4 high schools. Those are endowed and annual scholarships. In 2020, we gave 66 scholarships were given to Fargo Public Schools graduates. That totaled over $50,000. And we also managed the Fargo Area Dollars for Scholars Scholarship Program, which we distributed $51,000 scholarships to all 4 FPS high schools and Oak Grove and Shanley. We help manage that for them as well. One of our bigger programs, the Critical Needs Program, is organized by the foundation to ensure that each and every student who may need help with basic needs receives support. We raise funds through a variety of programs, some of which I'm sure you've heard of. The Homeless Program is one, milk and elementary snack, emergency lunch needs, high school and middle school hybrid pantries, and the Husky Hutch Hybrid Pantry, which supports elementary students and families in need across the whole district. You can imagine the past few months, those have been, they're always used heavily, but I think they've probably been even more, used even more frequently. Each semester, we're also able to distribute funds to all 23 school buildings, as well as early childhood special education, Indian education, the Adult Learning Center, and the Student Wellness and Family Facilitators. They're able to use these funds to help with critical needs as they arise in their buildings or in their programs. One thing that we were able to do last March when we went into a different learning environment was to help families with critical needs, by reacting quickly to help provide school personnel with the ability to, they assisted with school supplies, emergency cupboard situations, hygiene supplies, just all kinds of other items to support the emotional, physical, and educational well-being of our students. We were also able to react really quickly by being able to purchase gift cards, and then personnel was able to distribute those to families in immediate financial crisis. Since last March, we've helped an estimated 830 families and about $18,000 distributed that way. Another program that we keep track of is the Alumni Network. The Alumni Network's goal is to foster those connections between alumni and the greater Fargo community. We maintain an alumni database. We have usually help with promote reunions. Those were all canceled in 2020. Looks like 2021, they're trying to have a few, so hopefully we'll be able to help them promote them. We also have an alumni newsletter that goes out annually, and we also promote through our social media accounts and our email communications. So we try to keep in touch with alumni, keep that database updated, and make sure that we're able to keep them in touch with what's happening in Fargo Public Schools. And last but not least is the Adopt a School program. The Adopt a School program matches individual businesses or organizations and service clubs and universities and colleges to schools, and those partnerships bring employees and community members into school buildings to help out with, to assist with things like reading programs, tutoring, tutoring, career awareness, special events, extracurricular clubs, just a wide variety of things. Whatever kind of, we basically talk to the business organization, talk to the school, connect them, and then let them decide what works best with with the school and the business. It's been really successful, and I think a super positive thing for the kids to have. We currently have 21 partnerships, the newest of which is the district office, who will soon be neighbors with Hawthorne Elementary, so we're excited to get that going at some point. So that'll be fun. Obviously, 2020 and 2021, it's left us with not being able to have any face-to-face opportunities for businesses, but we continue to reach out and make those connections and make sure that we're ready to go and we're able to get back to some sort of normalcy and invite those folks back into the school. So, couple final notes. February 11th is Giving Hearts Day. We'll be participating along with lots of great charities across our region that help support the critical needs program. So we're always excited to do that every year. It brings in a nice, a lot of donations to help do those things that we're able to do to help support students in our district. So, and check out our website. It's kind of new. It's got a lot of updated grant information in there. You know, clicks always look good to the board, so go ahead and click on it and give us a few likes. Any questions? That was kind of fast. You have a lot more information in here you can read too.
Thank you for the presentation. Does anyone have questions or comments? Dr. Gandhi. Sorry, Robin, did you also have? Okay, Dr. Gandhi.
I didn't have a question, just a comment. I just wanted to continue to commend Becky and Corey's work with the foundation. Just over the years, the amount of work and the scope of work that the foundation does has just continued to grow with just the leadership of the two of them in the office, and they play a critical role with our critical needs fund, with our Adopt a School partners as well. Even earlier today, I was in a meeting with Becky and looking at some fundraising opportunities for other opportunities for our students. So I just want to express our gratitude, because the foundation is really one of the reasons why we're able to do a lot of the stuff that we can in Fargo Public Schools, and especially for our students and families in need. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate the support you provide us as well. It makes our job a lot easier.
All right. Thank you again so much for being here for this great report, and more details, more information in the folder that we have right here. So have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. We have one person has signed up to speak with us this evening, Lori Klein. If you'd like to make your way to the podium, we will hear comments at this point from the public. We ask that you have that you will address the board and by your name and address, indicating that for us. We would also ask that you refrain from using this forum to criticize or complain about a specific employee by name. The board is interested in your comments and will listen carefully, but is not obligated to respond or debate issues in this forum. Should you desire a written response to a specific question, you may request it. This evening, you will be allotted a maximum of 4 minutes. Anne Marie is helping us by keeping time this evening, and there will be a little bit of a chime that you will hear as that time approaches. So thanks for being here, and we are interested in what you have to say.
Thank you very much. My name is Lori Klein. I live in South Fargo, and as I walked to the podium tonight, I observed that there are fewer people in this room than there will be in a typical Fargo public school classroom next week, and we have 7 or 8 times the amount of room in this space. I'm sure that you've all received, or I hope that you have, an open letter from the CARE organization here in town, along with a list of community co-signers. And I'm honored tonight to speak on behalf of teachers, parents, school staff, and others who do not feel free to speak up for themselves. And tonight I'm especially pleased to speak in support of our high school students in Fargo who have begun to speak up for themselves. I want to say first thank you to the representatives for teachers, for paras, for school staff who have served on the COVID-19 instructional committee. We appreciate their willingness to speak up on behalf of the folks who are serving our schools and our students on the ground and to share their observations. However, we believe that North Dakota delegated responsibility for these decisions to the local school board for a reason, and we are requesting that Fargo Public Schools dissolve the COVID-19 instructional committee and return all discussion and decision-making to the members of this publicly elected school board. We further request that you publish and adhere to clear standards and metrics for the remainder of this school year. The COVID-19 instructional committee appeared to be adopting and following the CDC guidance published in September and still being updated and recommended by the CDC. But these standards appeared to be abandoned in the midst of the rising tide of cases that swept through North Dakota in October and November. We request again that Fargo Public Schools use both the core and secondary indicators and mitigation strategies established by the CDC and included in those indicators for dynamic school decision-making. We request that you work to keep Fargo Public Schools in the categories of lowest, lower, or moderate risk for transmission in schools. Further, the CDC considers state contact tracing an essential COVID-19 intervention strategy, and we request that you shift schools to distance learning in the event that North Dakota contact tracers again become overwhelmed and unable to effectively trace COVID-19 in our committee. We do not understand why you think that we can successfully say there is no transmission, low transmission, or any transmission of COVID-19 in schools without this essential intervention strategy in place. We prefer Fargo Public Schools to follow CDC recommended quarantine procedures, including for students who report they were masked at the time of exposure, and we expect Fargo Public Schools to adhere to CDC recommendations for social distancing or modified classroom setups, which teachers are not prepared this week to offer their students in their classes. Students will be sitting shoulder to shoulder. They will be sitting face to face. They will be sitting closer than 3 feet for hours while they are in school next week. And their teachers will be in close contact with them in their classrooms for hours. Finally, Fargo Public School Board members and COVID-19 members have repeatedly referred to Dr. Emily Oster, the COVID-19 School Response Dashboard, and the Brown School of Public Health recommendations surrounding early findings about transmission in schools. The language we have heard coming from the committee has evolved from little to no transmission to schools are not super spreaders to now schools are not drivers of community spread. And yet Fargo Public Schools does not submit information to the COVID-19 School Response Dashboard and does not publish its own data in comparable clarity to that dashboard. In fact, North Dakota as a state has received failing grades regarding its COVID-19 school data. We request that you lead by example and submit local information to the COVID-19 response dashboard or comparable national data collection effort, and publish a local dashboard such as now available through Dr. Oster's organization.
Thank you, Lori, for your
Thank you very
comments.
much.
We appreciate you being here. On to item 5 on the agenda, reports. We have 3 reports. The first report is the COVID-19 Instructional Plan Committee update, and Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Newman will be providing us with information. Dr. Gandhi?
Like in previous meetings, I'll hand it over to Dr. Newman and chime in as needed.
Thank you. You should have a typed report in front of you. I'll just kind of briefly run through things for you guys. As always, yesterday morning we started our meeting with reviewing the Cass County data provided by Brenton, our epidemiologist. It was all very positive. Our new positives per day for 14-day rolling average had significantly dropped. We are now at 54 per day on average, and we've seen rates across the state drop as well. Our 14-day positivity rate significantly dropped to 5.34%. That's down from the peak in November of 17.2%. Our COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths have both decreased significantly since the last time we met, and the majority of those remain to be with underlying conditions or from long-term care. With all of our major indicators going down simultaneously, there is a lot of confidence from Fargo Cass Public Health in our testing, in the numbers that we're seeing. They reiterated that we did not see a Thanksgiving spike, and Fargo Cass Public Health remains optimistic about the potential holiday surge. It is thought by experts that we would have likely started to see that surge in the middle of last week, and we haven't yet. So we're just following day by day. The numbers look promising again today. The highest rates continue to be seen in the ages of 20 to 29-year-olds, and the lowest rates we see in ages 0 to 14, and that is a substantial difference. They recapped a little bit the Binax Now testing that they have partnered with both Fargo Public Schools and West Fargo Public Schools for staff, and those continue to be very low, averaging from 0 to 3%. And then they spoke a little bit about the vaccine rollout. As you guys know, teachers are now included in the next priority group of 1B, and they feel prepped and ready for that. So that was exciting to hear. And then Doug reviewed the FPS staff data, and this was data for the previous week up until basically the evening of January 10th, the Sunday before, and we had seen 5 positive staff and 13 total staff out due to a positive test. Staff, including both teachers and paras, for COVID-19 quarantine results remain quite low, from less than 1% to 2.9% at any given time. The substitute fill rate has drastically improved. We're filling almost all, if not all, at this time. Our current sub-fill rate that's not filled is 1.72. Interestingly, if you compare that to the same time last year, we were at 17.2%. We are still struggling a little with the para-fill rate, 66.87% unfilled at this time. However, that is comparable to last year at the same time during non-COVID. The rate was 66.08%. And then McKinsey presented the student data, and as of 10 p.m. the Sunday night before, we had 21 students total in our district in isolation due to a positive test. You can see the percent rates here. They've all decreased. They're all far below 1%. Elementary 0.09%, middle school 0.31%, high school 0.33%. And student close contacts, we had a total of 54. These are thought not to be within schools, but out in the community, primarily from household contacts. Again, the numbers are there, all below less than 1%. In middle school, it was 0%. And students out on quarantine have decreased overall as well. And then in our meeting, we had discussion about should we return 4 versus 5 days in person for instruction. It was stated that our school transmission rates remain very low, as you just saw. And interestingly, the amount of students that are out in quarantine is now significantly down from when we first started this conversation. And the feeling from administration was we could now connect with those students, and we didn't need that Friday perhaps anymore. Operationally, that we probably could return 5 days a week without issue. part of that also is due that there's really no clear guidance from this time how we'll administer the vaccines, so we don't need to be reserving certain days to vaccinate teachers. And it was stated that there'll be evening and weekend days hopefully available when that comes out. Luckily, the Fargo Public Schools therapists like OT and PT and speech were included in the priority group 1A, and they will begin receiving vaccines, I think this week, if not very soon. And as I said, educators are now in the next group, 1B, so we anticipate February for vaccines to start for them. It's going to be prioritized in 3 groups, so the top priority will be any teacher or para in contact with unmasked students. Group 2 will be anyone in direct contact with students, and then Group 3 will be anyone not in contact with students directly. And then we had discussion, there was questions raised around, do we feel safe losing the ability to socially distance the full 6 feet in buildings? Should we wait to return until we have full vaccines? There was also concern about students in quarantine. If our numbers increase again, how will teachers connect with them? And I think we had a really nice dialogue to answer all those questions that, it should be safe, but we will continue to monitor very carefully. We had a specific question around the ability to clean. Right now we have our paras in our districts doing some extra cleaning, and so what will that look like when it all falls back to our custodial staff? And we just had a nice conversation about that because the custodial staff feels it's doable and it won't be to the level we're doing now. However, the data has been really questionable about the value of cleaning anyway, since this is an airborne virus. So we were comfortable with that change. We kind of referenced our initial SMART restart plan that was made in August, and we aren't quite at the full level 5 yet, even though we'll be in person. We're gonna call this a modified level 4 because we will continue all of our mitigation measures, of course, including masking and all the others. And Dr. Gandhi talked about prioritizing our needs over wants, so maybe we still won't be renting out our facilities. We'll just be prioritizing education. You might wanna speak more about that. And then we had 3 votes that occurred. The first vote was, should we remain in hybrid as we are or return to in-person learning? The vote was 2 for hybrid and 13 for in-person learning. Their second vote was, should we go 4 days a week? And 3 people voted in favor of that, 12 against. And then, should we return 5 days a week? And we had a majority vote for 12-3 on that. So the current plan will be to return all of our K through 12 students to in-person learning starting January 19th, the start of the second semester. And then we voted to meet again February 8th, which will be a full 3 weeks out from this, so we can have a chance to look at the numbers and the data. And then we had a nice discussion about spreading out these meetings just as needed. We may not need to meet as often. So I'm happy, I don't know if you want to say anything more, Dr. Gandhi, I'm happy to take any questions.
Why don't you go ahead, Dr. Gandhi, and then we can have questions after that.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Newman. I don't know if I have many other updates besides any questions to answer, but I think it is important to know that when we created our SMART Restart plan in the summer, we were going based off the information we had at the time, and I think that plan was probably based on the premise that our schools will directly reflect what's happening in our community, or there will be a strong correlation there, and we just haven't been able to see that this year. So far this year, we haven't seen a correlation between the community rates and the schools rate to the point where there's a causality that we can determine there. So I think with that being said, it is important to know that right now, our goal has always been to return to in-person instruction, and that's still the priority. I don't think we're at a level 5 yet, which would be the new normal. I think wearing a mask is still going to be required. That's a mitigation strategy. That's for the indefinite future, at least as of now, until we receive other guidance, along with all the other mitigation strategies that we see. So for now, our recommendation is going to continue to prioritize in-person instruction, get the students in the buildings, but we're not going to be renting out the Fargo Public Schools facilities for outside organizations and things of that nature like we've done. So I don't think we're at a new normal yet. We're just at in-person instruction for all students.
All right, thank you to both of you. Anyone have questions or comments? Nikki.
Thank you both for serving on this committee, and thank you to all the committee members. This is a tough position for you both. I understand and respect that. And I just want to say a special thank you, because this is such an emotional thing. People are really invested in this both ways. And I want to say thank you for following the data. We have learned so much since this whole thing has started about how it's transmitted. Does it work on surfaces? Does it live? Does it die? How does this whole thing work? So I know it's been tough, and I respect that, and thank you. Thank you both. Thank you to the committee. I pray that we're on the right track and that things keep going. This all looks positive to me, and we want to do the very best that we can for our students, so thank you.
Anyone else? I know we have received some questions, or at least I've received some questions, emails regarding vaccinations for staff, and so thanks for including that information in the report here. There's obviously a plan to put that in place once we know that those vaccinations are available, and hopefully that helps answer some of the questions and the concerns for our staff. Anyone else have anything else before we move on? Okay, great. The Fea Report, Jennifer Mastrud is here. Welcome.
Happy New Year. Hope you guys all had a restful time, and 2021 is off to an amazing start as we start to hear the numbers from the pandemic start to go down in our area. I just want to highlight one of those pieces. We talked about the sub-fill rate. One of the unique things is that we were a recipient of CARES Act dollars, so we were able to hire 44 subs, I believe is the official number, on an actual teacher's contract salary. As alluded to, the pay was so dismal earlier. So I do think our numbers of sub rates definitely are not a true reflection from 2019 to 2020 because we have hired actual professional staff to work in subbing. But this pandemic has continued to shed a light on the importance and the role of education within our community, and an importance that we must focus on our youth. We've seen that go through time and time again since the pandemic hit until even today. We also understand the professionalism of our staff for this. They have given to the point of utter exhaustion. Unfortunately, they're continuing to be met with demoralizing tasks and lack of support for these tasks. When you've pushed a group of givers, which is what educators are, we give. Just like you guys understand your role as board members, you give back to the community. When we've pushed them to the point of saying no more, which Kim Belgard and myself have received numerous phone calls, emails daily on these topics, we have a problem. This last fall, I asked the board and I asked the cabinet, as educators have done, to reflect upon the pandemic. What have we learned? What are we going to hold on to? What can we continue to make better? One thing we have learned and we have seen through our youth, through the adults, is the importance of mental health and physical health. It's been highlighted numerous times during this pandemic. We have to remember that our classrooms are the exact same spaces that our students learn and grow in, that our educators work in. We have to remember that those interactions of mental and physical health are intuitive of each other. So how a student interacts and feels is how a teacher is going to, and vice versa. So putting that importance of mental and physical health still, after the pandemic, is going to be extremely critical in order to attract and retain people to our profession. I'm sure you guys have seen there's going to be even a higher national shortage of teachers going forward. I don't want that to hit our community, especially since we have so many local colleges around us where we can attract those teachers from. But we must acknowledge this as we continue to push new ideas, initiatives, goals. We must listen to our students as they are the learners. They are our clients. We must listen to our staff as they're the ones who really truly understand the learning spaces in which they give every single day. This pandemic has given us a chance to reflect inward, and I really hope that you as a board, our cabinet, our administrators take this chance for us to build back stronger. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jennifer. Superintendent's report, Dr. Gandhi.
Sure. A couple of announcements. First off, I believe all board members know, but this Thursday night is our annual State of the Schools event. This year, obviously, the event will be a little bit different. It'll be a virtual event, starting with the asynchronous video for our State of the Schools, which members that have registered can already go ahead and view that now. And then there'll be a public focus group facilitated by board members and our district and school level administrators as well. So I hope all the board members are able to participate, but we look forward to that event as well. I did want to spend some of my time today for my superintendent report circling back on a previous board conversation that we've had around currently Woodrow Wilson name that now we're just going to be Dakota High School starting the next school year. At the time that Dakota High School was selected, board members had an interest to just make sure that we were doing our due diligence working with Native American populations and different tribes across our state to make sure that inadvertently there weren't any offense to the name that we selected, the spelling of the name that we selected as well, because we did want to respect the history of the indigenous population as well. So our Woodrow Wilson current staff, along with our Indian Ed programming, have done a lot of work, and they're continuing to work with different tribal leaders across the state. Before break and again after break, they've met with a variety of different individuals from our Indian Ed program and different stakeholders in our community as well. Some of these meetings, Tamara Usselman, our Director of Diversity and Equity, has joined them as well. So I'm just going to go through some of the feedback that we've received in these meetings from states representing, or from different individuals representing multiple tribes. First and foremost, the biggest feedback that we received is that many tribes across the state were honored and appreciative of the celebration of Indigenous people as one of the prominent themes for the renaming and including Dakota High School. The common naming and spelling of Dakota, the way that the board adopted that name, D-A-K-O-T-A, can represent all individuals, although there could be different regional pronunciations that could be considered as well. The school staff and students are currently going through a process, I believe, starting this week to focus on mascot naming, school logo, and different colors and things of that as well. Different tribal leaders across the state did have feedback, so the students will continue to work based on that feedback in selecting a mascot for the schools. Additional considerations shared by different individuals representing the Native American community were just that once a school is open and the name is officially in place for the next school year, maybe the board or school administration can create a significant visual celebration and storytelling of the Indigenous people in the decorum of the office and the hallway areas. They reference a history museum in Bismarck. Consider commissioning a piece of Native American art to be displayed at the school. Consider commissioning a piece of art that encompasses a lot of the different areas, technology, education, wheat, prairie, Red River, and the list kind of goes on as well. So that's just some of the feedback that we've received so far, and I know that was a consideration for board members, so I just wanted to follow up with that and let you know that Mr. Berkman, Melody Sabner, and our students and staff from Woodrow Wilson are going to continue some of that work as well as we move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Gandhi. And anyone have questions or comments? I appreciate the update. And Dr. Gandhi and I spoke about this information a little bit earlier today, so I had a little bit of a heads up on it. But really, thanks to Dr. Berkman and the individuals that he's working with and our Indian Ed program for their involvement in this, rightfully so, to help us launch, us as a district really, and as a board, launch this new name appropriately, plan for it, and introduce it appropriately to our community. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, I see there is an HR addendum, so if there's a motion for approval of the consent agenda, Robin?
I move approval of the consent agenda with the removal of item 6D and the addition of the HR addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of that consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Motion passes. The business portion of the agenda has 2 items. The first item is board compensation, Memo 80. You can see that this memo is here for our information. It is up for us as board members to decide if we are to conduct any business regarding this item. And so I will look to you for any action that you may like to take or any comments. If I hear no comments, it means that we are not taking any action on this item and that the information included in the memo remains the same as what is in front of us. Okay, hearing no words from board members and seeing no hands indicating action, we will move on to item B. And item B is Memo 81. It is in regard to the new district office, the RDO district office lower level renovations, and that comes to us from planning and also from Dr. Gandhi. Jim, would you like to take this?
Sure. Thank you, Rebecca. Planning met January 7th, actually at the Western States Life building that keeps erroneously being referred to as the RDO building, but soon going to be referred to as the district office for Fargo Public Schools. There are a number of things that aren't quite perfect on the building. That being said, it's darn near perfect already. A lot of work to get it reconfigured, and right now the staff is hoping to potentially move in on March 15th during spring break. If we're not ready for that, it'll probably be delayed until June when school's out. There's pretty minor work that needs to be done on the second and main floor, a little bit more work that needs to be done on the basement level, which is where the new boardroom is going to be put in. And putting that boardroom in, getting a hallway down to that boardroom, as well as creating some PD meeting spaces in that lower level is really the bulk of the project that we're going to be looking at right now. In your packet, you've got some renderings of each floor and some photos, but the bottom line is we think we need about $388,000 of physical work done on the building, and then with the other add-ons that come with that, insurance, contingencies, we're looking at $434,000 to take this almost perfect building and make it perfect for our use. And we do have sufficient funds in the building fund balance to actually fund this, so we don't have to go to the general fund to actually take care of it. And it's planning's recommendation that we go forward with the entire package, including remodeling the alternates, which were the bathroom and hallways and stairwells, to bring them up to 100% new look as well. So with that, I'll make a recommendation that we, make a motion that we authorize administration to proceed with securing bids for the renovation to the main and lower level of the district office building to be funded through the building fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Robin?
Dr. Gandhi, can you explain some of the efficiencies that will result from bringing in and centralizing some of the departments within the school district, please?
The biggest efficiency is something that we've talked previously at board work sessions and board meetings, which is a longer-term plan to decommission or vacate the Agassiz building, which, as you know, is a much older building, currently houses a lot of our programs. It also houses some central office staff, including course facilitators and other staff as well. By moving towards the new district office, we'll be able to bring a lot of those individuals in, and then in our long-range facilities plan that will be presented to the board later this spring, I think in February, we will present, we will share that one of our visions is down the road to decommission the Agassiz building once we find a future home for the future Dakota High School and our adult ed program. A lot of that is because of just the deferred cost for Agassiz building and its functionality. That building is now a conglomerate of a wide variety of services for Fargo Public Schools, and unfortunately we have an entire wing in that building where we're in a catch-22 situation with the Agassiz building, the 1930s wing, because you can renovate it for PD space, but the parking's already short there for the amount of people that we're serving there. So the only other option is to take down the 1930s wing and add 20 more parking spots, which is at a significant cost, and that's not even looking at all the other deferred maintenance that's waiting on that building. So this fits in with a couple, the new project kind of fits in with a couple of goals. The new district office, one, will allow us to move our district office, which is currently over 20 years old or 20 years old, to a newer facility that meets a lot of our needs, allows the opportunity for us to grow as we are a growing school district as well, but also allows us to create a future plan of decommissioning the Agassiz building as well. The project particularly in front of you tonight. What it does is currently the garden level of the new district office. There are a wide variety of things happening. That garden level served employees for the RDO Corporation. When you walk into that garden level, you'll see two different roof panels. It's not designed to be a boardroom. This makes it a boardroom. If not, you just have a current space where we could put tables down. So it's a matter of long-term efficiencies of what we want to do. And if the district ever wanted to invest in a meaningful boardroom to provide that experience down the road, it would cost a lot cheaper to do it now versus it would later. So that's what a little bit this project speaks to.
Robin?
Follow up, and this isn't from a selfish standpoint, from the boardroom perspective, will this allow more audience members than our current usual boardroom, not this boardroom? And
Correct.
then, and will technology be enhanced and what have you?
Sure, so I will take those as two separate questions. So yes, this new boardroom will be bigger and allow for more seating than our current boardroom, and I'm looking through the document to see if I find how many it is. Oh, it's not, I don't see it labeled, we'll have to count. The PD space on the opposite end on the garden level can accommodate 62 people. That would be a replacement for currently what we're using as the loft at Agassiz, which is smaller and one of our few large group spaces, and we just have a need for a lot of large group spaces in our district. So yes, it will be a bigger boardroom. It obviously won't be bigger than South High School. As it results to AV and different things, there are some improvements that we're already making. We've just had to invest in some better technology this year because of more live streaming because of COVID. For example, the new mics that are in front of you today, these were purchased and will be going over to the new DO office as well. Bill and his team are looking at our current technology information, our current camera system, current live stream system to make determinations if those need to be upgraded or not. Part of that's based on the amount of dollars we have, whether this project gets approved, and whether COVID dollars are available, because those are some COVID needs either way as well.
Robin?
I'll keep going. So I am supportive of the motion. I think it's so important for our public to have access to our public meetings, and this will allow for more space, especially for some of those events that are a little bit more the public is a little bit more interested in. Final question, I promise. So this building has pretty much come to us, or when we purchase it, it will be furbished with furniture. So what happens to the old furniture in the existing school district office?
Lots of conversations now at the district office. Many of the offices are already going to be furnished, which is great. Some of that furniture is in great condition, some of it's not. So a little bit of what we've shared with current district office staff and the staff that's joining us from Agassiz is go into your office, let's see what you need, and then we'll make a determination if we need to maybe move over some of our furniture from our district office or not. But our district office is currently on the market as well. If there's an interest and that buyer is interested in the furniture, that might be a conversation we have, that might not be. But we first want to go in, move in with the furniture we see if there's anything we need to take over from the district office or other buildings that we have needs for as well. And then we'll kind of see where we're at and make a determination.
Any other comments or questions? Nikki?
Just a quick comment. I joined the planning committee because I wanted to see what this was all about, and I was very impressed about the items that they can reuse. So this isn't just going in and writing a blank check and just doing whatever we feel. This was a well thought out, frugal endeavor to make this the best that it can be. And there are many things that they are going to be able to reuse, move throughout the building. I think it was responsibly done. So I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you, Nikki. Any other questions or comments? I wanted to share too, I observed the planning meeting and took a tour of the building after the meeting. And in regard to the information that's in our packet, the illustration on the new boardroom, we also discussed what was discussed at that meeting and shown to us is the ability to be able to utilize that space that we will have, assuming this passes, for the new boardroom to also be a flexible space. So it's larger, yes, so more people will be able to attend. It's fitted, it will be fitted appropriately for technology and for planning for down the road, for presentations, individuals that are presenting but can't be in person, that kind of a thing, but also a lot more space for meetings that might need to take place than what's in our current boardroom. Dr. Gandhi, I was also interested in if you could talk through some of the thoughts. This is a building that is close to one of our elementary schools, Hawthorne Elementary, and I know there's been some discussion in regard to the parking situations at Hawthorne, and does this provide some, ability to help maybe ease that? Could you share with us some of the thoughts going forward regarding that?
Absolutely. One of the attractions to the new district office, along with all the other benefits I talked about, was the ability to provide ample parking, not only for our staff, but also able to provide some more parking for Hawthorne. Blake is out of the office today. I don't know the exact numbers that we're allocating, but we do know that that's part of the project, and being able to provide some additional parking for Hawthorne. And the two are essentially connected campuses, which goes back to what Becky from the foundation said earlier. That's also going to allow district office to become the adopted school partner for Hawthorne. So it is our goal to provide additional parking for Hawthorne and to alleviate some of the concerns that we have there as well.
Thank you. All right, anyone else before we vote? Okay, Anne Marie, it looks like we're ready.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Brian Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
President Knudsen.
Yes, motion passes. Okay, board reports. The first item, committee liaison and correspondence reports. Tracy, would you like to start, and we'll work our way around the room?
Great, thank you. I just first want to say this is sort of two reports because we skipped last time. So if it seems really long, that's because it's 2 months. Okay, on December 4th, I called into planning meeting. I think that's what you guys were referencing just now. Believe it or not, we've had 3 COVID-19 instructional plan committee meetings, December 7th, 21st, and yesterday. December 15th, the Communication and Advocacy and Engagement Committee meeting took place, and after that I had my individual sort of semi-annual board meeting with Dr. Gandhi. On December 16th, I attended the NDSBA Lunch and Learn regarding social media and found that to be super interesting. December 17th, I called into governance and negotiations meetings, and then later that day we had an NDSBA town hall with Superintendent Baszler and the Healthy Return to Learn team. On December 14th through 17th, there was virtual sessions from the chamber. Thank you for that, Robin. I randomly attended some of those here and there. December 18th, I had the Fargo CAS Board of Health meeting, and just some updates from them for the board. They have received a family planning grant that will be, it's Title X funding. It's going to provide a broad range of services for them, including like low income and uninsured in our community. They spoke a lot about COVID-19, just cautiously optimistic. This was back on December 18th, but they were proud that the contact tracing was back in full at that time, and it remains that way. And they were really talking about their increased testing events they're having, and then they were bracing for the vaccines. They were getting their initial dose of Moderna, I think like the next day after our meeting. January 6th, I had the NDSBA CDC town hall. January 7th, I attended the American Academy of Pediatrics Council for School Health Town Hall. It was COVID-19 and safe return to school. This was sort of a nationwide thing with leaders of the AAP advising many school board members and school physicians across the country. And then just this morning, I attended an online event from Harvard School of Public Health called The Coronavirus Pandemic and the Disrupted School Year and Public Health. And I would just say from both of those, I think our district is really on the right track. And then I completed session 3 and 4 of the Giant Training, and I took the IDI assessment. I'm waiting to hear my result. Thanks.
Seth?
Just planning committee meeting last Thursday, and I don't have my notes from a month ago, so I'll spare you my my previous report, so thanks.
I'm sure you were busy doing something that last month, yes. Nikki?
And I'm feverishly trying to recreate that list. December 10th, when equity is optional, part of ESSA. I attended that webinar. December 14th, I joined Ben Franklin for their VFW Patriots Pen Awards. That was fascinating. Took my father-in-law, Warren Gullickson, and he had a great time reliving those memories of when he was principal there and that program got started. December 15th, we had Communications Advocacy and Engagement meeting. December 16th, I also did the NDSBA Lunch and Learn. December 18th, visited with Dr. Gandhi for one of our one-on-ones for the year. December 16th, FPS Foundation Board meeting. December 17th, I hit 2 meetings. We had negotiations and we had governance. And I also did the chamber opportunities to listen to our representatives. I don't remember the date. I didn't write it. I was busy writing something else, but that was December. So here we go in January.
Thank you, Nikki. David?
Well, I guess in the last 2 months, there's been planning, negotiations, and governance, and I think the others gave you the dates. Can't think of anything else.
Thank you, David. Jim?
I too attended negotiations, a couple of planning committees, a governance meeting, and for those of you on planning, the last Friday in January will be our next meeting at 7:30 at the DO.
Thank you, Jim. Robin?
Similarly, I attended the governance committee meetings, negotiations, did not do planning, I should have. Community Development Committee met on December 15th. They will not have another meeting until February. Let's see, Chamber Eggs and Issues, when the police chiefs were on, that was very interesting to hear them talk about community engagement. Return to Learn call on January 6th. And then all of the instructional plan committees, the COVID committees, and I am in the midst of being overwhelmed legislatively. So I was named to North Dakota School Boards Association Legislative Committee. So they have weekly phone calls. We have been really busy already with some of those. I'll go through a couple bills. I was also named as the Fargo Police Department's Badges of Unity Chair. The reason I share that here is because that is kind of an umbrella organization for student resource officers and community trust officers that are very involved in our schools. And I've been on that board for a couple years. And then I had, every once in a while, I get questions from a student for a school project at Davies to answer questions about why am I a school board member, what is the school board member's job. So I love that engagement with our students. The next Governmental Affairs Committee meets Friday at 7:30 a.m. We have been busy doing weekly updates for legislators. Typically during the legislative session, guys, this is when I really get quite busy. I get half a dozen texts or emails from legislators about different bills that we are watching. Joe Lynn has been so kind to compile our legislative tracking lists, so we watch those for committee meetings. A couple highlights for bills that I sent out for positions. Some of the armed first responders bills have been withdrawn. Those really do not apply to our district. Probably more so in the rural areas, but we typically take a neutral or support on some of those. A big bill that we're watching is Senate Bill 2083. A lot of questions on that. In fact, it has a lot of meetings as well. It's been rescheduled it was supposed to be tomorrow morning at 9. They have rescheduled that for the week following. Other than that, this is the crazy time where things can change within a minute. And so, Jim is nodding. So that is my obligation to our board to be available to answer those texts and emails, usually instantaneously from the floor from a lot of our legislators in their committee meetings. So It sounds busy, but I love this. I stay in touch with it, and our relationships that we have built with our legislators, and that flow of communication is absolutely vital to the operations and financing and for our school district and our compensation and our student success. So that is my commitment to you and the community, and it just gets all foggy after that. So, but our GAC committee will have some good direction for me moving forward on Friday. I think that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin and Brian.
Well, I too just going to kind of echo what everybody else has been doing with the negotiations meeting and planning meeting and then the GAC meeting on Friday. Super excited to see that the mandate for masks and this is going to, I believe, go another month, and I'm really proud of our community for stepping forward. Remember a couple months ago we were not very happy with our situation, and so it's a lot more positive now, and I think if we just keep at it, we're going to be sitting good.
Thank you, Brian. There is a president's report for you at the table that Anne Marie has put together. A few items I'll mention to you. We received a holiday card from the North Dakota School Boards Association with a cute little design here. I'm not sure if it says, oh yes, cover art was created by Vivian, oh goodness, Schlafman maybe, a 6th grade student at the Turtle Lake Mercer School District. And her teacher is Mrs. Anderson. So this is a card that NDSBA, you could pass that around, sent to us. That's adorable. Last week, the Native American Commission met. That was a Zoom meeting. I provided that committee with a brief update as far as just kind of where we were going with the new name, Dakota High School. And I'm going to work, Dr. Gandhi and I visited about this a little bit earlier today, work on at some point, whether it's for the maybe February or March Native American Commission meeting, where we have some representation from the district and those involved in the planning of the new name to provide a brief update, come to either in person or a Zoom meeting with the Native American Commission, so that our community at a broader level is kept up to speed a little bit more in terms of our plans for the new name. So I will work with administration on setting that up and the commission as far as a good time to do that. The Fargo Core Neighborhoods Master Plan is getting to the point where there's going to be a presentation. It's February 8th at noon, and that's going to be a joint meeting of the City Commission, the steering committee that I serve on, and city staff. So the consultants have gotten to the point where they feel that it's an appropriate time to provide a report to the joint group as far as moving forward with that plan. I'll try to remember to send a link to you for that meeting in case you'd like to tune in or look at it after the fact. I too listened in on the Return to Learn Town Hall that was January 6th, featuring guests from the CDC, the North Dakota Healthy Return to Learn team, and Governor Burgum. The State of the Schools address, again, just a reminder that that is this Thursday at 7 via Zoom. Thanks to everyone that's been involved in planning that and to our community members that are volunteering their time to participate. Dr. Gandhi did send a message to us January 6th with information about that event, so I know that I'm going to be reviewing that again, so just asking that everyone take some time to review that and contact Dr. Gandhi or Anne Marie if we have questions prior to that. Hopefully that we'll zoom right through it, hopefully, right? And gather some, wasn't that wonderful, Brian? Gather some great information and great feedback from our community. North Dakota School Boards Association continues to provide some free lunch and learns, and so I did sign up for 2 of those webinars. One is February 17th regarding superintendent evaluations, and March 17th, Innovative Education Panel. So that takes, that's my report. Is there any other business that we need to be conducting this evening? I see we have item 9 on our agenda. No need, okay. So then our next meeting is January 26th at 5:30 in this room, and we are adjourned. Thank you. Have a great